Welcome back. If you just joined us, you're watching the news at 10, broadcasting on Channels Television live from Lagos. Here are the stories making our headlines this hour. It's a tragic day in Damaturu, Yobe State, as a female suicide bomber blows herself up, killing 8 others. Nigeria Air Force takes delivery of new military hardware to prosecute battle with Boko Haram in the northeast. Bayelsa State thrown into mourning as 11 top female politicians die in a fatal accident. And our correspondent in New York, Kingsley Amayo, brings us reactions to the postponement of Nigeria's elections. You can read up more on our top stories on our websites, channelstv.com, and on youtube.com/channels, where you can watch our videos. You can also visit m.channelstv.com to view us live on your mobile device and download the Channels TV app for Android, iOS, and Windows phones from their respective stores. We also encourage you to please interact with the Channels Eyewitness feature on our Android, iOS, and Windows 8 platforms. So if you have pictures or videos you'd like to share with us, tap the application on your device, swipe to review the Eyewitness menu, and follow the instructions. Speaking of which, here are some of the pictures sent in to our Eyewitness portal. Let's begin with this one. Here in Lagos, a road accident on the 3rd Mainland Bridge. No further details on this, but we do hope that everyone came out okay. Well, here's a similar one. A car sent in from Alakoko in Lagos. It climbed a pavement, breaking through a fence. Our Eyewitness reporter says this accident could have been caused by overspeeding. Thankfully, all on board, a man and his wife and children, are all alive. Next is this image sent from Omoli in Berger area of Lagos. It's a picture of the wrong use of road. It would have been better if all road users consider others while on the road to prevent avoidable accidents, according to our Eyewitness reporter. We'll end in Onisha in Anambra State, where this picture shows the state of a road, where our reporter says is in the Osi main markets. Residents are appealing to the relevant authorities to save the situation. And thank you for all the pictures. Do keep them coming. Channels Television appreciates your reportage. We're in the United States now, where the postponement of Nigeria's elections has continued to generate reactions. Former United States Ambassador to Nigeria, John Campbell, and other Nigerians in diaspora have been commenting. Our correspondent in New York, Kingsley Amayo, has been listening to their comments.
Nigerians in diaspora are not eligible to vote, but many of them in the U.S. say they have a stake in the elections. 28-year-old Onyinye Nwawocha says she hopes to come back home to a stable Nigeria in the future. But that can only happen through credible elections.
Most of us still aspire to go home at one point, and the elections will impact us. The next leader is going to determine the direction of the country, and if it's not for a positive direction, then the Nigerians in the diaspora is going to deter them from going back home. Is a bit suspicious as to why there is a suspension at this time.
The election's postponement is getting comments from other quarters. Former U.S. Ambassador to Nigeria, John Campbell, says an electoral process should not be interrupted at short notice.
It's unconvincing because the elections have been postponed for 6 weeks, ostensibly to allow the security services to restore order in the far northeast of the country to defeat Boko Haram. The struggle against Boko Haram has been underway either since 2009 or since 2011, depending how you define when the struggle began. And it is difficult to imagine that Boko Haram can be defeated and that order can be restored in the Northeast in 6 weeks.
Many Nigerians here say even though they're concerned about the postponement of the elections, their biggest worry is what happens if there is a reoccurrence.
Election takes place once in 4 years. So for you to say you need security, whatever, to get prepared in order to control whatever is going on in Nigeria, this could have been taken care of way back before the election time.
For these Nigerians, they say it is the responsibility of the people back home to push for transparent elections. Kingsley Amayo, Channels Television News, New York.
Now, the permanent voter card collection exercise in Rivers State has been anything but smooth. Some prospective voters are fortunate to collect their cards at some wards, while others say that they're frustrated with the entire process. Meanwhile, a peace walk has been held in Makurdi, the Benue State capital, to encourage violence-free polls.
Hundreds of youths turned out for the peace walk on the streets of Makurdi from St. Teresa's Primary School through Wurukum roundabout. At the school gates of the Benue State University, where they spoke to Channels Television, the youths hope that young people will embrace peace rather than resort to violence.
The campaign is not just because of the election, no. Peace is needed in Nigeria. In the Northeast, we have security issues. We need peace in the Northeast.
Confirming the outbreak of political violence in parts of the state, the police command says it has made some arrests, with an assurance that measures have been put in place to check election violence. The scene in Port Harcourt, River State, is quite different. These people at the centre in Falga will only be pleased if their PVCs are found, an issue that has plagued the elections so far. For 39-year-old Brownie Yofa, the search is over, but for some, there is no end in sight.
They refer me same thing, that I should come to this unit and the ward. So when I came here now, I saw my PVC.
After searching, they found out that my the thumb print does not appear on the screen.
Elsewhere, it's a different story. Angry protesters in Obiakpo local government area demand for their PVCs after weeks of failed attempts. Protesters are worried the situation could get even worse, but the National Commissioner of INEC tells us that stealing PVCs is a waste of time.
The details on your biometric on your PVC would come up on the reader, and then you'll be asked to put your thumbprint. If it is your card, it will say verified. If it is not your card, it will reject it.
Many more people will be hoping to end their search and collect their cards before the new election date.
With the shifts in the 2015 election date by INEC, politicians may have been forced to return to the drawing board. In Rivers State, candidates for various elective offices received the news with mixed feelings. While some believe the postponement gives them more time to prepare, others feel it might take a toll on their efforts. In this report, our senior correspondent Charles Aruka takes a look at the impact of the election shift on Rivers State candidates.
Electioneering campaigns like this had already reached a climax when politicians seeking elective office believed they had almost had it all wrapped up. Then INEC dropped the bombshell.
The Commission has decided to reschedule the 2015 general elections thus.
For the candidates in Rivers State, where campaigning has been very intense, they got more than they bargained for.
It appears despite the postponement of the elections, the momentum is still being sustained in Rivers. But then the question is, the postponement of the elections, what impact is it going to have on the candidates for the various elective positions?
The postponement of the elections will affect both positively and negatively on the candidates. Positively in the sense that there are candidates that are not prepared. Now they have an additional 6 weeks to dot the I's and cross the T's. And then there are also candidates that are already prepared and ready to win the elections. The impact is that they are going to spend more money.
First impression we had was that of disappointment, I must tell you. People were disappointed because, when you are prepared for a thing for over a period of time, and just about the time the thing is to materialize, something happens to it. It demoralizes you somewhat.
However, some believe it's an opportunity to get the best out of a seeming challenging situation.
To actually give the people time to go out and collect their PVC. And also don't forget that the CRV, INEC was still doing the CRV before the date of the postponement. And when you mean CRV, you mean continuous voters registration. And it's expected that after this registration, people will go and collect their PVCs. And people have not collected their PVCs up to even the time they postpone the election.
Well, certainly when there's a shift, it comes with one or two inconveniences, but I can tell you that it is something that we have already surmounted. We are not worried. We will go ahead, mobilize our people for the elections on those days, March 28th and April 11th. They will come out with their PVCs and they will vote for us.
It is to be expected that the postponement of the polls may have exacted a physical and fiscal toll on the candidates who may have thrown everything into the fray.
It will be an extra burden, financial burden on the candidates, because we've all prepared for this election. We've done our campaigns all through our constituency, and we are ready for elections. Well, all of a sudden, reasons given by INEC, well, it's acceptable. They are the umpire.
That Saturday, that the news came up on early morning Sunday, that Saturday was like a rounding up of our campaign and of my campaign. And when we got the news, well, what do you do? But I don't think it will affect my chances.
Behind the scenes, there is a lot of strategizing and re-strategizing towards the new date of the elections. For the candidates and for their parties, no stone should be left unturned towards winning the elections when they eventually happen, and therefore it means the momentum will not be let up even for 1 second. From Port Harcourt, the Rivers State capital, Charles Eruka, reporting for Channels Television News.
When the News at 10 returns, British Council rewards 2 Nigerians who excelled in the online entrepreneurial competition. Please join us again.